This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Thursday, November 22nd. So glad you can join us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Long delays in the court system are harming the country's crime fight. That's the view of Attorney General Dale Marshall, who says he's concerned that while police are doing a good job, the court has not been dispensing justice swiftly. He told Barbados Today on the sidelines of the opening ceremony of the 48th Caribbean Financial Action Task Force Plenary Conference at the Hilton Barbados Resort, 8 murder accused have applied for bail this week, and he believes this is even more evident of the lag in the system.
So it's one thing for the police to put measures in place to investigate crime and to charge offenders. It is a completely different thing if somewhere along the line we drop the ball at this end. I have been informed by the Registrar of the Supreme Court that this week an additional 8 murder accused who were on remand have applied for bail. Now, this is something that concerns me greatly. When you can have 8 murder accused applying for bail, it means that the system has not been responding to the need to get their trials through as quickly as possible. So with the best will in the world, all that the police do, if at the end of that process when people are presented for trial, we are not in a position to deal with them effectively, then we have a problem.
Industrial action has been averted at the state-owned Rural Development Commission. Today, management of the Barbados Workers Union settled their differences over the last-in, first-out policy. Earlier, BWU General Secretary Senator Tony Moore warned that there could be possible industrial action if the RDC did not correct what the union deemed as a breach of the policy. However, after talks today, Moore told Barbados Today, the matter has been put to bed.
We had seen the list that the RDC management had presented with the numbers that they expected to go. And you would recall that our challenge to that list related to the fact that certain principles that were agreed during our meetings were not being observed, namely the principle of last in, first out. So at our meeting earlier this morning with the management, we reviewed the union's challenge, and at the conclusion of that meeting, the positions of the principle that the union honored were observed. So those challenges were recognized and the necessary changes put in place.
Meanwhile, the University of the West Indies steps up to lend a helping hand to retrenched government workers. The Cave Hill campus is offering those affected a more flexible payment plan as they seek to upgrade their skills and embark on a new business venture. Public servants account for a substantial portion of enrollment at the campus, and according to Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Dr. Justin Robinson, while he was not aware of individuals applying to take leave from study as a result of being retrenched, several people have been asking for assistance.
Typically, about 40% of our enrollment on the campus, particularly in social sciences, tend to be employees in the public sector. So it could be anywhere, about 10% of the persons might have been persons who faced retrenchment. But that's one of the things that gave us the idea or the urge to respond, because we have students, persons who are pursuing degrees here, who are among those who are being retrenched in the public service. They are uncertain about their future and so on. And they've kind of came to us and spoke about that, and we said, well, we need to respond to that in some very tangible way. So the campus, we're not pushing any particular area. What we are saying is that whatever interest persons have, we are providing you with mechanisms, the skills, so that you could pursue whatever business idea you are particularly interested in. So students interested in going to manufacturing or persons wanting to start those businesses, there is training and expertise to help you to launch that business. But the campus is not trying to pick winners or pick particular industries. We are casting the net as wide as possible. Let ideas contend. Anybody wants to start a business, we have some facilities here to help you follow through and get it done.
In other news, Government has set up a relief board to help vulnerable consumers seeking relief from the Garbage and Sewage Contribution Levy. Public Relations Officer with the Sanitation Service Authority, Carl Padmore, tells Barbados Today that consumers who qualify for exemptions can now collect waiver forms from the SSA, the Barbados Water Authority, and some of the island's post offices.
There are forms available called waiver forms as well. Let's say that you fall into that vulnerable bracket where that you are a pensioner, you're disabled. You can actually fill out that waiver form, which will be available from the Water Authority headquarters, sanitation headquarters, and some post offices. And you can fill out that form, and that form will be given consideration by a board, a review board that has been set up. And we want to thank the Barbados Water Authority for the work they have been doing along with us to ensure that the form is easy to understand, to ensure that those who fall into that bracket, that there's someone listening to them. And that review board will be meeting regularly. So what we want to encourage you, still pay your water bill, send in the waiver form, and it will be given consideration for review.
In sports, an impressive bowling display has handed Australia a 71-run victory over host West Indies in their T20 World Cup semi-final in Antigua. Alyssa Healy top scored for Australia with 46 of just 38 balls as the visitors made a competitive 142 for 5 from their 20 overs. The Australian bowlers demolished the West Indies batting lineup, bowling out the host for just 71. Australia will now play the winner of the second semi-final between England and India.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, authorities in the Bahamas are assuring residents that local lettuce is good for consumption. The assurance follows a warning to consumers and local food store chains to voluntarily remove all romaine lettuce brands off their shelves. The warning comes after a recent E. coli outbreak in the United States.
Local stores here, they would only have heard this on the news as far as the United States is concerned. But we do ask that the retailers and wholesalers, all persons who are selling any type of lettuce, romaine lettuce that is, that they remove it from their shelves, that they do not sell it to the public. Because at this point, the CDC has issued a statement whereas they do not know what strain of E. coli is involved. And so, you know, just to be cautious, we want persons to be vigilant in terms of not eating the romaine lettuce. Now, one advice to local consumers, local lettuce is not on that warning list. And so persons are free to consume as much of the local lettuce as possible. So I know our farmers will be happy to hear that. I only add that persons wash the lettuce properly.
On the international scene, Britain and the European Union agreed to a 26-page draft text setting out their post-Brexit relationship. However, there are still some sticking points to iron out before EU leaders meet on Sunday in order to rubber stamp the pact.
Britain and the European Union have agreed in principle to a text setting out their future relationship. That after Theresa May met EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker on Wednesday to finalise their divorce terms.
The text of that declaration has been agreed between the European Union and the United Kingdom.
The 26-page draft declaration will now be screened by the 27 EU states, as no final deal can be agreed without approval from the EU leaders on Sunday. German Chancellor Angela Merkel had previously threatened not to turn up if a draft agreement hadn't been reached in time.
I will do everything possible to get an exit agreement.
A
disorderly Brexit is the worst possible thing, not just for the economy, but for the mental situation regarding our future relationship.
According to a government source, the draft document does not quite resolve all sticking points, including the Gibraltar issue.
And that report from Reuters Television brings us to the end of your evening news update. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.